No, in general, no. So it pretty much follows. Well, it's driven, of course, by the EU legislation in this area, and they all do things by the book. So it tends to follow the same kind of process. You do have some flexibility, of course, within that framework to select different ways through, and some customers, by the way, will also choose to come together and have a joint procurement process. Mm-hmm. But the process itself is quite similar, I would say.
And in that regard, is it very visible in terms of the key parameters that they're testing for and the weighting they apply to the various components of the RFP? Can you give us maybe an example?
Yeah, it is transparent, and I think many of the key criteria will tend to be the same. What's maybe not so transparent sometimes is the more emotional part of things, mm-hmm. which should not be underestimated. Mm-hmm. That because most of these customers, before they actually go out for tender, they will have researched the market. Mm-hmm. They will, of course, have been subject to a number of different salespeople from different vendors. And, so they may or may not have built some kind of emotional attachment to a particular software or vendor before they go out for tender. So that's probably the least transparent part, which is difficult to avoid, but it's actually what you try to avoid, of course, with a transparent procurement process with transparent selection criteria. And those would, of course, be to do with different functionalities, process support, technical requirements, integration requirements, training requirements, support for implementation process, price, of course, and a number of commercial and legal requirements.
Sure. Our understanding
they tend to be...
Sorry, I was just going to say that our understanding of the business to date is that it doesn't have a particularly active or present account management sort of division or setup. But the way you were just describing there, some of the other software providers and maybe the way they go about building relationships with regions even before they procure or come out for RFP, are we understanding that right? And therefore, in your view, is there a potential upside or opportunity that Cambio is missing there in terms of having more active account management of the various customers or target customers?
I think it's almost a fact that some of the competitors are much more active on sales and account management. Mm-hmm. I think on the existing customers, they are pretty good in Cambio. For many of them, there's a frequent dialogue about different things, and the setup with the customer group in Sweden and all of that helps, of course. So you tend to have some kind of governance structure for existing customers, which will help you to also do account management. But for the market in general, I would say yes, Cambio definitely has an opportunity to step up there. And it's sometimes almost like a well-kept secret what they have actually in the bag, which could be leverage for many more customers than who are aware of what they have. So yes, there's an opportunity here, I would say.
Thank you.
And how easy would it be to build an account management team? Is it fairly easy to get local talent, or would that take a considerable amount of time?
I think what my view is, what is most effective in this sector is to have some clinicians who are actually trained to do sales-related work. But people who